Massive Tickets helps comedians and venues sell more tickets with ticketing, emails, and marketing integration built specifically for how comedy shows actually work.
It's a comic-run platform that sold over $1 million in shows, tickets, founded by comedian and producer Aaron Barber, who's produced touring shows and festivals around the world.
Get started
On MassiveTickets.com.
What's up, everybody? Man, again, thank you to our viewers. You guys, obviously you guys are the show. We're just nothing but gratitude, and we appreciate that you guys hang out with us. Welcome to Willie Barcena's Drop In. We always have. Sometimes it's us. It's the usual suspects. Sometimes we have guests, but today, for me, it's a very special day because there's some topics that we're going to cover that we've talked about with friends of mine who've been in the military, and it'll unfold as we talk. But first, let's introduce the crew.
What's up, everybody? Fabian Barcena. Shout out to Chicago. It's one of my new favorite cities.
Chicago, man. Thank you, Fabian. Chicago, you guys. Wow, we sold out 4 shows. Yep. 4 out of the 5, right?
Yeah.
Or all 4?
4.
Okay, we sold out our 4 shows in Chicago, you guys. And even, man, that cold weather and extremely cold weather, and you guys came out and supported, and you like what we do. It's just, we're humbled. And Fabian, you divergenized Fabian. First time doing stand-up.
Yeah, I popped my cherry in Chicago, man. So it's always going to be super memorable for me. And I did my open mic on Thursday with DJ,
mm-hmm.
and I went up, and then we did the real shows with you in front of full crowds, and man, that was amazing. I had a great time.
Yeah. Man, you're going to replace Robert. Robert, I think your days are numbered, bro.
Oh, here it goes. I'll be headlining next.
Hey, attaboy.
Hey. I'll be headlining my own shows.
Hey, I showed him my notebook of writing. It's like I wrote like 50 pages in 1 week.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Robert, are we gonna write this week or not?
This week. I got you.
Okay.
I got a whole back. I brought my backpack to show you. I got the cards, the notepads.
Okay, this week, dude.
Binders. I got a whole kit.
Dude.
Hey, I'm coming for you, bro.
Oh,
I'm coming for you.
All right, dog. Listen. All right, let's go pound for pound. This is what it is, dude.
Well, listen, you guys. This is a really interesting podcast for me, to say the least, because one of the reasons that I went along with Fabian, that when we talked about creating a podcast, was to not only obviously be entertaining and be humorous, and which we love to do, but as you guys know, when we have guests, we always try to get to know them at a deeper level, not just because they're actors or because they sing or because they're athletes. It's like just kind of like humanize people and not look at them as like, oh, look at the big stars, just look at what people go through to get to a certain level. And also many times we've talked about therapy, we've talked about statistics that are out there even before I got into therapy. By the way, that's a good joke you wrote about me, dude, about therapy. Well, tell the audience the joke you just wrote this joke.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to.
Just say the joke, dude.
It's gonna go by special, bro.
Oh, this guy, bro. When you burn material, I'm gonna tell you the secret to writing. Fabian, when you burn material, it forces your brain to write more.
Yeah,
if you hoard your material, you're gonna be one of those comedians that has the same hour for 20 years. So don't be afraid to just give it to the universe. But listen, if you trust the universe,
Yeah.
that they gave you, the universe gave you that joke, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling the universe, oh, thank you for this little joke I got. You know, fuck that, bro. Give it away. It's to give away, and the universe will give you another 50,000 jokes.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
don't have that mentality of mine. So tell them the joke, now,
All right,
man.
all right.
I thought it was, and the reason I'll tell you why I want you to say it after you say it.
Okay, so I go, yeah, I'm trying to be more romantic with my girl because Latinos we're like inherently not romantic, like we get it from our dads,
Too macho.
Yeah, we're too macho. Like my dad just started going to therapy last month. I'm 28, so too late. And then and he called me last week. He was like, "Hey son," he's all excited. He's like, "Hey son, I just went to my 3rd therapy class," And I was like, "Hey dad, that's cool, but mom left 5 years ago." Left too late, bro.
I just think it's very clever, man. Dude, and the fact that you're writing these jokes and you don't have to cuss, bro, that I'm telling you, you're gonna like catapult a bunch of people. It's always harder to write a clean joke. It's okay. Here it is. Very hard to write a clean joke, but if you want to write blue, easy, man. You could do it with your eyes closed. But to write blue, write dirty, and then try to write transition to clean, almost impossible. They can't do it because it becomes a crutch.
You already learned like a bad habit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, man, props and to you. I know there's some young comics that watch us, man. I just gave you guys a nugget. All right. So I want to introduce our guest, man. Gabriel. Gabriel, what you want to introduce yourself to?
Yeah, my name is Gabriel Hurtado or Hurtado, and I'm actually I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I was a corporal in the Marine Corps. From 1995 till 2002, and I'm also the owner of Devil Dog Beats Entertainment. So I'm also a DJ, local DJ in the Southern California area. So if you want a really good DJ,
that's a good
knows how
plug,
to
man.
sing
Very
it.
smart. Very smart to plug yourself in there, boy. Okay, and to add to that, Gabriel, we met when we did a show for the military in Bahrain, which is the Middle East. Took us forever to get there, man. And we flew in a C-130, man. But I got to tell you, you're gonna hate this, bro. They really, they put the fancy, all the what do they call it? They modified it.
Yeah.
And they put fancy seats, which I know you guys go in there. You guys sit in metal, right?
Yeah.
When you guys travel in the C-130s. And Fabian, if you don't know, if you've never been in a C-130, and Robert, you can throw a football from one end to the other, like huge, bro. It's where they carry the tanks, right, bro?
Yes.
And so we met. We did a Christmas show.
Yeah, we did.
It
It
was-
was
it-
Christmas.
it was
December 25th, 2001.
How old are you, brother?
How old am I now?
No, how old were you
Back-
when
back
when
then,
you were
2000.
watching the show?
I was 27, 28.
27, 20.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? When I looked into the audience, when I looked at the soldiers, bro, would you say that the majority of them are babies, man? I'm talking 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, you see them, you see them 18, 19, 20. I mean, I was one of the older ones because actually I had already done several years. I had gotten out. It's a contract where it's called IRR. So I did 4 hours active duty, and then I was supposed to do 4 years active duty, 4 years inactive duty. And so that means that in case of wartime or in case of anything, they can presidentially recall you. Well, it was my last year to be recalled, and right after 9/11, they recalled me.
Oh, so,
And so that's why I went overseas. But when I went over there, I was one of the older ones, but everybody there was like 18, 19 years old. I mean, you're right. They look like straight out of...
they're like baby. It looked like a
Yeah.
high school reunion,
Yeah,
bro.
it
It really did. And listen, man, I will. You and I, we met for lunch. We met. It's weird, bro. We met at a church.
Yep.
and then we
It was meant to be.
it was weird, right? And then we met for lunch
We
or
met for
dinner,
lunch, yeah.
lunch,
Yeah.
and we talked about. You told me because you've seen combat,
Yes.
and which is man, that's just to me it's and I'm sure Fabian, Robert, it's things that we hear about, we see on the news, you see in movies,
Yeah.
but the reality of combat from the movies is night and day, right, brother? And we'll get a little more into that. And we're gonna right now. I want to introduce our next guest, Daniel. Do you want to tell him a little bit about you and also why why I invited you here?
Yeah, sure. I'm Daniel Doyle. I'm a therapist. I specialize in trauma, and I work quite a bit with veterans. And I just happened to have a colleague who Robert had asked for like a suggestion of someone who works with vets, and so he called me up. We talked a little bit, and really just happy to be here and do whatever I can to kind of get out, information that might be helpful to.
Did you say Robert?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, it's Willie.
Willie.
I heard him say Robert. I was like, Robert, you called him? I thought I called him.
That was somebody else.
I think
What Robert is he talking
a
about?
guy named Robert that I know.
Hey, no, listen, bro. Hey, I'm the worst with names. I called Gabriel Gilbert coming in. So yeah, listen. So we talked on the phone for a little bit, and you've worked with soldiers that have seen combat, right?
Yeah.
And so when I had lunch with Gabriel, he was giving me the one that really obviously we were talking about a lot of stuff, but the one that was kind of like it got to me is a little impactful when you told me about what is it, your platoon?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And how many of them have committed suicide?
There's so many.
Can you give us a little bit of
There's
on the numbers on that, bro?
Yes, I actually happened to bring a few things. One thing I wanted to share with you was actual. You guys can look this up. This is in the Hollywood Post, and where's it at? Okay, it says right here, 19 suicides have occurred on VA campuses from October 2017 to November 2018. 7 of them in parking lots, according to the data at the Washington Post, obtained by the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's pretty crazy, and I can tell you right now that it's been a hard road for me because, when I didn't know I had PTSD, I came back in 2002, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't know any of that until 2010. Things just were weird for me. I didn't come back the same. I was having a lot of nightmares. I was having a lot of swing moods, and it was pretty bad to the point where, it really impacted my family and impacted, my marriage, and it impacted a lot of things. And what ended up happening was we went to the city of Norwalk, and they were having the Vietnam Wall, and it was there. And I happened to be there, and there was these people right there for PTSD, and they're like, "Hey, you Marine?" I said, "Yeah." Like, do you know what PTSD is? I'm like, "No." I thought it was like an STD or something. I don't have it, right? But so they're like, "Well, PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. They started asking me a bunch of questions. Do you feel this at night? Do you do this?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you need to go to the VA." So I went to the VA, and immediately they said, "Yeah, you have PTSD. You need to go through a bunch of classes so we can get you rated." Rated just means that you get a disability rating from the VA. You get a compensation, right? For I guess it's it's like emotional pay or damage pay.
So rated are they want to see your level of PTSD?
Yeah,
Is that what that is?
they wanted to see what level you're at.
And the higher level you are, the more money you get.
Exactly. But you have to go through all kinds of hoops and all kinds of red tape to get there. So sometimes you have to hire a lawyer. Sometimes you have to go.
You have to
get
hire a
denied.
lawyer, yeah, like
Yeah.
a private lawyer.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah,
For
I know that. I know.
You're trying to prove like you're a higher PTSD
Yes.
level than what
Wow.
you're claiming.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they might just give you just a little bit, and you're like, no, wait a minute. You know, I deserve a little bit more. Sometimes you have to hire. You know, you have to go outside and hire a lawyer. There's a lot of lawyers these days that work with veterans. They want to do them for you, or they want to do the work for you. You just need to know where to go. But there's also people that take advantage of you. I got taken advantage of. There was this lady that said, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of you. You just got to give me $600 like every 2 months, and I'll take care of you." And I didn't know
Well, she
that.
wanted to take part of your check.
Yeah, she wanted no. She wanted as we were getting there. She's like, I'll take $600 every single time. We have to go and evaluate and this and that. And I didn't know that you don't have to go through that.
Wow.
There's places where you do it for free, and there's places that unless they keep, like I said, denying you, then okay, you might want to hire a lawyer. I have a friend of mine. His name is Frank, and he was denied so many times that when he finally, I think he did have to hire a lawyer. When he finally got his 100%, they owed him like thousands of dollars. He was able to buy a house from the
Wow.
back pay because they go back to the day that you first start your claim.
Uh huh.
So he had like years and years of all this back pay owed to him that he was able to buy a house.
Way to
And-
go, Frank.
Right,
Way to
exactly.
go,
Shout out to
I
Frank
did,
and
yeah.
Marie. But yeah, it's just lucky for me. It didn't take as long as Frank did, but I was just going through a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
and I did. It just really affected me in many, many ways. A friend of mine, sent me this article once that said that California, the state of California, is ranked number 50 in the top 50 states that help out veterans.
Well,
Which
we're last.
Really, yes, dead
We're
last.
Okay, I'm just thinking that right away I thought you think because I know there's a lot of homeless veterans,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Is that one of the reasons we have a part of our big
Yes.
homeless problem in LA?
It's a big reason because, I mean, obviously, you can't say that's entirely true because people do make bad decisions.
Mhm.
I was homeless for a little while too, but
Wow.
at the same time, there are programs that you can go and you can go get. Now, unfortunately, especially in the Marine Corps, they've always taught us you suck it up. You suck it up. Don't show emotion. Don't show others that that's a sign of weakness. That's actually supposed to be the complete opposite. I'm not saying that you have to show crying. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that there are programs out there. If you're feeling certain ways and it's affecting not only your life but your relationship with your kids, your girl, your wife, whatever, your husband, there are programs that'll help you. There is therapy now. Same thing with therapy. I started going to therapy in 2011 at the VA in Long Beach. But what they did was they're like, okay, you go to a group therapy and then you go to singles therapy or single therapy with a regular therapist.
Okay.
So I did the whole thing. I end up going to therapy for like 4 sessions, and then all of a sudden she's gone.
What?
And there's a new lady,
Mm.
and so the new lady's like, okay, we have to start all over again. So you got to start the trauma all over again. And then 4 weeks later, there's a new guy. It's like, okay,
Mm.
you got to start it all over again. So it's like you just keep repeating the trauma over and
It-
over and over again.
Reliving everything.
Yeah, that it didn't help. It just kind of made things worse.
Wow.
And then they're testing, I believe, that they've been testing all of these like weird new types of stuff. They're like, oh yeah, we have this new thing we want you to try. Okay. And we try it and it dumbs you down. You feel like a zombie. You're like, yeah, what's
Like
up?
pills?
Like pills.
Oh, so-
And you either feel like a zombie, you're sleeping all day, or you're like,
So these are psychiatrists, right? Because only
Yes.
psychiatrists are allowed
that's correct.
to give you the okay.
Yeah, so
and-
they're telling you, hey, let's try this new thing. And so I was either dumbed down and just like, or I was like if I was on coke, and it was crazy. And I stopped for a while because I just couldn't take it. And then when I did, I started spiraling. I made really bad decisions. I hung out with the wrong crowd. I ended up, homeless. I ended up, losing everything, my marriage, my money, everything. And it's a sad story. That's not just me. there's so many of us that I guarantee you right now that are watching this that are like, dude, that's my story, man. That's me sitting right there with you, man. And it's the truth. It's unfortunately that's the bad side of the military because they glorify it all the time. Oh yeah, Marine Corps, hoorah, this and that.
Yeah.
They don't tell you the other side of it. They don't tell you that there is a dark side to it. That there's reasons why a lot of military people they're alcoholics. They go into drugs. They look to other means because these things that they keep giving them is just not working for them.
So,
Yeah.
I want to chime in on this, but to me, I mean to be in the military. So I've never been in the military, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but I would assume they rewire your brain to almost make it like, get you okay with the fact that you're gonna have to kill people. So you're wired with the fact that. So I think your mind must think a certain way,
Yes.
right? But as I think when military personnel, when they're done, I think there should be a program to rewire the brain.
There's certain programs, but they don't really do anything for you.
Really?
They kind of like you're getting out of the military, and they're like, okay, we're bringing you into civilian life, so we're gonna help you make a resume. Yay! That's now you're a civilian, but that's not how it works. Yeah, and they have like these guys.
They don't have the same passion when they want you to kill.
Yeah.
Same passion when they want you to. What can you? Would like to hear your perspective on.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that, and I think I was really struck by what you said about the therapy you were getting and constant changing therapists and having to tell the story over and over again. So I do this therapy. It's specifically a trauma therapy. It's called EMDR therapy, and
What does EMDR stand
so
for?
it stands for, it's a kind of a funny name, but it stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And the idea behind it is that, our brains are incredible things and they're naturally, set up to be able to process our experiences.
Right.
So we go through something, we take in that information, it kind of gets stored in our brain, in our long-term memory, along with other things that are similar to it. But when we go through like really intense experiences, really disturbing experiences, really frightening experiences, our survival brain really kicks into play. And those memories get stored in a different way in the brain. So there's actually been a study recently where it was found that trauma, when we think about a trauma, the same part of our brain we're using to think about that trauma is the part of our brain that we use when we're just walking down the street in the present moment, taking in information. So it's like trauma is stored in the present tense in the brain. It's not stored in the past tense. And, this quote from this trauma expert, Bessel van der Kolk is his name. He says that trauma comes back as a reaction, not as a memory. So when a trauma's coming up, we're reacting to it. We might not even be thinking about the event. There's some stuff going on that is reminding our brains of the trauma, and then we're just responding to it.
Well, and real quick, and what about when they say we repress? Is that that memory is repressed?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that not such a thing?
Oh, I mean, that can be a thing where memories can get repressed, but I think this is a little bit different because, in some of these traumas, like Gabriel was saying, he had to talk about it over and over. So he remembers the events. So it's not that they're repressed. If it was repressed, he wouldn't remember it. That's like, a memory that you block out, basically.
Don't people repress? I mean, I'm asking, you know, because I want to know more about this topic. Don't people didn't they say that before, that like a safety mechanism to help ourselves was our brain would repress memories and you leave it alone, and you know, unless the therapist brings them out.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I suppose that can happen, but really, when, in my experience with working with trauma, it's usually events that are remembered, but they're not processed fully. So that's the thing. So they're in this part of the brain, or in these networks in the brain, where they are being responded to with the survival part of the brain. So there's this other part of our brain, the neocortex. That's the part of our brain that is really sort of evolved, really good at making sense out of things, really good at making meaning out of things. But the trauma tends to get stored in a part of the brain that's only good at survival. It's not good at making meaning out of things, coming to understand things, being able to sort of, if we can think about a trauma being stored with like negative belief about the self, very negative emotions, you know, that are troubling, and disturbing body sensations. And if that memory doesn't have a chance to get processed, then it's just kind of sitting in the brain. Mm-hmm. And as you go through your day, something comes up that's reminiscent, and you respond to it, or you have nightmares, or you have like difficulty communicating with your loved ones, or, you know, it can really lead to feeling very isolated, feeling like nobody can understand your experience, what you're going through. And so just quickly, you know, the work that I do, EMDR work.
You're not in a rush, brother, so you don't have to say quickly.
It's not, you know, I can work on a memory with someone, and they do not have to tell me a narrative of what happened, okay? They know what happened. They were there. The memory is in their brain. Their brain is the thing that is going to process the memory and store it in a way that's more what we call adaptive. So it's like you know, we discharge the negative belief, we discharge the negative emotions, we come to a new understanding about ourselves in that situation. But what I am trained to do is create the conditions under which the brain can do that. And then I kind of stay out of the way. You know, I'm monitoring to make sure the person's moving along and things are shifting and they're not just like stuck on repeat.
Okay.
But it's really about the client and their brain doing the work, and I'm just kind of, you know, setting it up and then pushing start in a way, and being there obviously to support the person and, you know, go through it. But it's very different than you're going to tell me your story and then I'm going to come up with some brilliant thing to say that's going to make you feel better.
All right.
You know?
So you're what Gabriel was saying about the therapist that he had seen, where they were telling him, tell a story again, mm-hmm. and then he goes back, tell a story again. So when you're talking to somebody, mm-hmm. you're not asking them to tell me that story, no. Because I'm sure when they're there and you figure, you know, hey, this guy, I mean, you have to know something about the person you're going to see, right? Yeah, and it's a scene combat, right? It's a scene mm-hmm. combat, and you're probably okay. We don't have to bring it up to the surface.
Yeah,
we're just going to discuss tools.
Well, what it is more like we would have probably a title, you know, or mm-hmm. a headline for the memory, and that's the way that we're identifying it. Now, I'm not going to stop anybody from talking about their experience if they want to. I'm there to hear it. Right. I'm just saying, like, it's not like you know, you have to do that. And I think, as Gabriel was saying, it can be like re-traumatizing to have to say the narrative of the thing again. So I will have an idea, you know, about what the memory is about. Then as we go through, I'm checking in very regularly and I'm getting feedback about what's coming up for the person. So I'm getting the story in sort of smaller pieces usually. But it's just important to, you know, what I really value so much about it is that we are really honoring the brain of the client to do this thing and knowing that it just needs a little help to kind of do this thing that usually happens naturally, but because the experience was so intense, it kind of got waylaid.
So are you in therapy now, Gabriel?
I'm trying to get there. I had to go again after you only get like 12 sessions with the VA, and then they cut you off. You have to start it all over again.
So they that's crazy because it's almost like saying you have cancer and hey, we're gonna see you 8 times. You don't figure it out. You don't get that cancer done in 8. You know.
Yeah, you gotta start all over again.
And so that just doesn't sound like they're helping. You know, if they're giving you 12 sessions for anything, right? Anything. Okay, you better get it within this time. Have you heard of this? That they do.
Yeah, I've heard of that. And the other thing about that is, you know, this work when somebody has experienced trauma, if they have post-traumatic stress, we don't want to like jump really quickly into delving into the trauma. So that
why
so the idea is that the nervous system has been, you know, activated right during the trauma, and all these chemical changes are happening, and you know, in the body, and the nervous system gets kind of pushed to like being on high alert, basically. So even after the trauma or the event is over, a lot of times the body doesn't ever come back down to like a baseline level of basic relaxation. So part of the preparation work for doing trauma in any modality is doing things to help the nervous system learn how to reset and come back to a state of like basic calm. So, you know, different people respond well to different things. So it can be breathing exercises, it can be visualizations, meditation. So part of the work when I start working with someone is let's find some things that really help you to get your body and your mind into a relaxed state. We're not going to just start, you know, poking and you don't have any skills or resources to be able to, you know, come down again. That's the other thing that can happen is a person who is not doing like trauma-informed treatment, they can too early get a person to talk all about their trauma.
Right.
And then they say, okay, well, the session's over, you know, and the person's basically...
You just open the wounds and then you go out.
And they
go
go
outside.
They go out the door and they're completely dysregulated, and it hasn't really been useful. It didn't do anything helpful, and they probably don't want to come back to see that therapist again.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, according to the national average, it's 22 veterans a day that take their lives, and that's the reason is because we feel that what's the point? You know, we're going through this, then we have to start again, or you know, what people don't understand is,
you know, you got to. I mean, I know you're going to elaborate on this other issue, but we just got to highlight that, man. Where you said 20 on the average, 22 veterans commit suicide a day.
Yeah,
that's a
lot
astonishing number, man.
So, just yesterday I went to VFW to do an open mic, and I was talking to one of the veterans. He was a Marine who he was actually deported to El Salvador,
Oh, wow.
and then came back, and you can tell that he had he was dealing with some issues, but he told me because I was going to my car outside, and he came and followed me out, and he looked me in the eye and he was like, hey, like, keep doing what you're doing, like us veterans, like we need you guys to make us laugh, to keep us from killing ourselves.
It's like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
It looked like he was about to cry.
that was, I don't know if you remember. So what happened was, it's just, I believe it's fate. And I saw him perform with Jay Leno. Jay Leno did his Tonight Show on December 25th with him, it was you, it was Dwight Yoakam, it was Cedric the Entertainer, it was Chris Isaac,
Yeah.
and who else, right?
I
think that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like it was awesome. And what really got to us was the fact that December 24th to us Latinos is Christmas. For everybody else is for some reason December 25th. But on December 24th, I was talking to, my boy Sandoval and, a couple of other guys, and we're just like, hey man, Merry Christmas, man, Merry Christmas. And we could just tell that we were just like devastated, like, dude, we're just here in the middle of nowhere.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
they're
we're
out in the
here-
middle of nowhere, Fabian.
And
Middle of nowhere, bro.
and over there, and everybody's doing their thing, and we're just like, yeah, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, and it's like nobody even cares that we're out here, but there's people at home that are missing us. I missed a lot of my daughter's first things because she had just turned 1, and I got recalled, so it's just it really really affects you, and I think what really gets a lot of people is PTSD is like. It's like you're trying to play a video, but it tweaks and it keeps playing the same part. It's almost like a broken CD. It keeps playing the same thing over and over and over again. You can't really get past that. That's how I consider PTSD. It's just this trauma that just keeps it repeats, and then something, whether it's a song or whether it's something like a smell or a sound, it'll take you there, and you'll be surprised, especially 4th of July or whenever there's a lot of fireworks going off. This December 31st, there's a lot of guys that will pretend to be all macho, but the inside we're we're on alert. I have to there's been several times on July 4th where it's my favorite holiday, but I have to tell myself I'm not there anymore. We're here. This is, don't freak out. I had this guy, I knew him. He was a veteran in Calvary Chapel over here in Downey, and he would actually go crazy. He had to sleep. He's married, and he had to sleep on a bed in the next room, strapped up. And then whenever he would have nightmares, his wife, this is a true story, his wife would have to go with a stick and try to wake him up, because if she came close to him, he'd hit her. He'd freak out, and he'd start just throwing chingazos, right? But that's just one person. There's been times where I do the same thing. I'm I wake up and hey, you're having a nightmare. You're having a nightmare. I scare my girls. I scare my dog. I have a service dog, and it's crazy because, and then it's oh, okay, and then a couple days later, again, ahí está, again, playing it. You can't take that tape out and return it. You just can't. It's there forever. You can't just Control-Alt-Delete it. With a, it's like a Band-Aid when they give you a couple things. But actually, I wanted to ask you a question. Okay, I heard that pretty soon the VA is going to start testing. They're going to start testing mushroom microdosing. Now, what is your thoughts on cannabis versus microdosing? And would you suggest? Because I know you're probably well, I'm a therapist. But would you suggest?
How do you know like that, dude?
Would you suggest that would just like, no, go with what the doctors tell you. Pharmaceuticals are cool. I mean, what are your true thoughts on this? I mean, you've seen people firsthand. You have that. You almost have a front row, but other people don't have.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I really don't have a strong opinion about that. I think it totally makes sense that someone who has tried, a lot of different medications and been on all kinds of stuff and is still not feeling well, would make sense that they might want to try a new thing or an alternative thing. So I don't have anything against it at all. I just don't really have any expertise on that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did want to say, just to kind of off of what you were talking about with like the same part of the tape keeps playing, that that's related to, it's kind of a ironic thing, because that is our brains trying to protect us by latching on to the most horrible thing that we experienced, so that we're ready to respond if anything remotely resembling that comes up again. So it actually creates a lot of suffering, even though the intent is to keep you safe. But that's part of an unprocessed memory. So I use this sort of imagery metaphor all the time, that when you're really fully processing a memory, what happens is the camera, like if you think about a movie, like a close-up, the close-up is on the worst part of the experience. And when the memory starts to get processed, it's like the camera starts to pull back and you start to see the other stuff that was around. And you might start to see things that are, actually positive in some way. Oh, I'm remembering that my buddy was there and he, said these words to me. Or I'm remembering this help that arrived, But you could even be focused on an image of like a very disturbing image of someone who's been very badly wounded, and then over the course of the work, your brain will click into, oh, I'm remembering that person survived, right? Like, but when it's coming up, it's like they're in that state, like permanently. It's like you don't know if they're going to survive or not, even though, like intellectually, you know what happened. But when the memory gets triggered, you're only in the middle of it. So this is kind of the whole concept of reprocessing.
That's interesting. I mean, that made sense. What'd you think, Gabriel, when he says your camera lens of the moment, the trauma, is right here, right? It's a close up, and he's saying, as you pull back, and correct me on here, you're trying to find things, anything that was positive, right? And
well, I mean, the yes, except it's not even like you're trying to find it. It's just that you're not singularly focused anymore. So that your brain is sort of integrating the memory more instead of only focused on that one piece of it. So you're correct. It's just that it's kind of, it's not a.
It's organic. It organically happens.
Tell my clients, while we're doing this process, you don't have to try to think differently about this. You don't have to try to feel differently about it. All you're doing is noticing what is coming up. So it's not even a trying an effort thing so much as, I said before that like I'm kind of staying out of the way and allowing it to happen.
Right.
And the same thing is true for the client. They have to not be trying to do anything. They have to simply be noticing what's coming up for them during the process. It includes like the eye movement part. is that they'll be thinking about the memory. You know, we kind of set it up to help them identify the negative belief about themselves, the picture that captures the worst part of it, the belief that they would prefer to have about themselves connected to the memory, the emotions and the body sensations. And then we're doing either eye movement or you can hold these like paddles that go back and forth. And the idea is that if you're moving your eyes back and forth, like following my fingers, you're forcing the whole brain to stay present so that the thinking brain is present and the survival brain where the memory is stuck is present. And those parts of the brain can finally share the information. So the survival brain has to sort of relinquish the information and get it, and then the neocortex can pick it up and it has a very different way of looking at a memory than the survival brain does.
Okay, so just correct me if I'm wrong. Is this almost like hypnotism? Because hypnotism, you're looking at something. Constantly.
It's not really like hypnotism because there's not anything. It's not like an unconscious process. It's all happening like in your consciousness. But that is a common thing that you know makes sense that people would think that. I mean, there is hypnotherapy, which is kind of different than hypnotism, but you know, related. And I think hypnotherapy does have those elements of really like relaxation and kind of helping the nervous system to come down to make room for like new information to come in. So there's probably some crossover, but it's not so much that anything is being implanted. It's more all coming from the client as they're working on it.
Have you had a hypnotherapy, Gabriel?
It's been brought up to me. I have not, and the only reason why I have not is because if I already have all of these really terrible nightmares with regular therapy, I keep thinking that if they bring me into hypnotherapy in my head, I'm thinking they're like just gonna seriously like take you there, and you're gonna be there, and you're gonna really relive it more than you're already reliving it at night. You're gonna really relive it, and it's not that I'm scared of what I can do to myself or what I can do to others. It's just I really the last thing I want to do is go back to that moment, you know. And so to me it's just no thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather microdose. I'd rather kind of figure something out that's more natural instead of pharmaceutical, that they're just testing these things to make money. I'd rather them, you know, say, okay, well, you know, this is from a plant, you know, you do this, or this is, you know, a type of mushroom that is specially grown to help you guys out. You know, again, my dad, I don't know if you knew this, but my dad was one of the pioneers to try to get cannabis legalized in the state of California in the late 70s, early 80s. So my dad would take me and my sister and my mom, and we had a little pinot, and he'd take us all the way up to Sacramento, and he'd lobby, and he'd be there trying to legalize cannabis for medical reasons. And unfortunately, my dad died in 2012. He never got to see it become legalized in California, but I always remember that. I always remember my dad saying, you know, it says, it's arguable, but he would always tell me, you know, it says in the Bible that God made all the plants. So if he made herb, he made it for a reason, and he made it so that people can actually use it for good. And that was my dad's thing. And he, for years and years and years, he'd argue with so many people and like, no, y'all don't understand. You know, if you actually use it wisely, it could change the world. And it has impacted the world in many ways when it became legalized, you know. And of course, people use it wrong, but people use it right too.
No, we had a segment here. We put a video. Somebody was against weed, right? The guy was against weed.
Yeah, he
right?
was against weed, but I think he was like the overindulgence of weed.
But man, we got attacked by the by the
everybody.
pro weed people, bro. Like, and we weren't even, you know, we just showed his video.
It's still
You
going
know?
too.
Yeah, it's still getting you know, critiqued hard.
Well, you know, I was gonna say about hypnotherapy. I actually did it one time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and it did work for me
Mhm.
because my thing was early in my career is more for my comedy career. It's like why I didn't have the confidence in myself, even though I had people telling me I was like funny, you're hilarious, get your autograph. Oh my God, you're gonna be famous. I'm like, why me? You know what I mean? And I just couldn't connect. And he was saying that your subconscious, your conscious are not necessarily connected sometimes. And we have to jar your conscious thoughts into your subconscious because your subconscious is your protector. It's kind of like your conscious say, hey, I want to do this. Subconscious like, yeah, but what if all these options and this? Oh, I don't know, man. It's kind of like you doubt yourself. So he made me like jar like those information that I really wanted and smash it into my subconscious. He's like, watch in 4 months, you're going to start seeing the results. And I swear to God, like 4 months later, all of a sudden, like, things started happening, and he's like, people think I had a growth spurt. You'll see, I'm a growth spurt. What are you talking about? Because I'm short. And I was like, dude, did you get taller, bro? I'm like, what the heck's going on here, dude? So I don't know. It could work.
Hey,
you
go
know?
back to that guy. Do you know where he's at?
Yeah, I know his name.
Go find him and tell him to tell you to write. So you can write, man.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
You're right, bro. But,
tell him the hypnotherapy. Take a pin with you, bro. I always give him shit. Because he doesn't write like he should. That's why.
So, you've microdosed before.
I have not microdosed yet.
Okay.
I have seriously considered it. I've done cannabis. I've done hybrid cannabis to try to, because I have high amounts of anxiety, plus I have severe depression. So some days I'm up for days, and then some days I'm just like down, and there's like nothing could really keep me, you know. So I have to balance it. So I've tried that. It worked a little bit, but then at the same time, I've been kind of trying not to go that route because I have daughters, and I just, for the safety of my family, I just like, yeah, no, maybe not. But I mean, I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to definitely try microdosing.
In college, I wrote a paper on the effects of psilocybin, which is the chemical in mushrooms,
Oh yeah.
and it had a lot of like profound effects on cancer patients and people with PTSD, and people who are alcoholics,
Oh really?
and it really like just suppressed their need to drink. It helped them not so much.
Is that why you gave him mushrooms? Is that why you told him to take all those mushrooms?
Yeah, well,
Bro, I
you
did
didn't
too
take
many,
it right.
dude.
Well,
I ate a whole jar.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you're not supposed to take it when you're drunk.
Oh, yeah, I did take it drunk
Yeah,
too.
you took it when he was
I
drunk.
did.
So
I think it went
Kinda
against
just
everything.
didn't do anything.
Well, you should have given me instructions, bro.
Yeah, but
You just
no,
freaked
and
me
then-
out.
and then but I know a lot of people. I heard plenty of stories of people who stopped drinking. Even I was last night. This comedian, one of his jokes, he was like, "Yeah, he used to be an alcoholic, and then he started microdosing, and he hasn't drank in 4 years."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still drink, Gabriel?
I don't drink as heavily as I used to. I do drink, but it's very, very rare.
How rare is rare?
Well, I DJ all the time, so people are like, take a shot.
Oh, it's
take a
every
shot.
weekend,
No,
fuck
no,
you.
no, no, no.
Because you know what,
No.
bro, I stopped drinking. And honestly, bro, I stopped drinking. But when people would ask me, "Hey, Willie, do you drink?" A little bit, bro. A couple shot here, maybe there. But I used to drink. We used to have bottles here for the podcast. We would drink like a bottle and a half between us three.
Yeah, no, we
We
and that was just on Tuesday.
that was Tuesday.
And
That was a
then-
Tuesday night, bro.
And then
Taco
come
Tuesday.
the weekend when we have shows, we would finish about 2 bottles, like one on Friday, one on Saturday.
Yeah.
But when people would ask, I would say I had a couple shots.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is
No,
we had a couple bottles.
I usually say, hey, I don't really DJ very well when I'm drinking, so I'd rather not.
You're in a
I'm
safe
on
place,
duty.
Gabriel. Tell
No,
the truth.
No, excuse me. Excuse me, sorry.
Se te atoró, güey.
Yeah.
Be bullshitting. Be
No, no.
bullshitting me, bro.
coming out right now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We say,
No,
hey,
no.
Daniel,
I don't
Daniel, when
drink
someone's giving a fact and they start copying like that in the Hispanic culture, we say you're bullshitting.
No,
We say-
no.
I don't want to wrap this up without asking what I wanted to ask you, Daniel, for Gabriel, because everybody works differently. I know for me, and when I was a young dad, it's fucking asshole, man. I had these kids boxing and jiu-jitsu and doing all this old Mexican macho bullshit. And I was a dad that was very, almost a little distant. I wasn't loving, you know. And the only thing that started getting me to change a little bit, not, you know, it wasn't dramatic, but there was some forward momentum, was books. You know, reading books on these topics, you know, books, you know, Raising Boys, there was a book I read. And then I remember reading Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And then I got a hold of some DVDs from Wayne Dyer. That got my momentum going for me. You know, I know I'm sure, Gabriel, you know, you have things that work for you, you know. Like you were telling me earlier that some of your friends were saying, you need to pray more or you don't have faith, you know, which is, no, I think everybody's brain, I mean, because before in school, there was only one way to test you, right? Reading comprehension. And now they realize there's audible geniuses, there's artists that are geniuses, you know, just musical geniuses. There's just all types, man. It's like endless. Where I'm sure your friends that are telling you, oh, you know, you don't pray enough, that, you know, they're trying to keep you in like a small circle of trying to figure this out. For me, and then I think was I mentioning books to you, bro, on the way walking over?
Yes.
Yeah, because the reason I tell that to friends and because that works for me, you know. Is there a book out there? The books work for you, bro?
To me, no.
No.
What works for me is music, and DJing, and I go live on TikTok every once in a while, and when I do, at the end of all my lives, I always end with positivity. So I always end my last 2 minutes with, hey, you know what? I don't know who's going through something, but just remember, you've survived 100% of your days. You got this. You got this. And you'll be surprised how many people have DM'd me like, brother, I needed to hear that today. Brother, but you guys don't understand. There's days where I'm going through my darkness and I'm telling you because I have to tell myself and remind myself, I got this. I've survived this. We're going through this together. I'm going through the same wave and I have to ride this wave of depression because to me it comes in waves. Yeah. So what's helped me is music. I know at the VA, not at certain VAs, they're starting to do people with PTSD can go and learn how to play the guitar, and that helps them. For other people, it's books.
What about listening to books?
I've done audiobooks. I like audiobooks, but to me, it's just nothing like music. I've always grown up with music. Music goes through my veins. It's just everybody's different.
And does it help you if the song is inspirational?
Yes, of course.
Like if the guy who's singing the song, whether it's the Beatles, yes, whether if it's a band from today, whatever, yes, if he's got like an uplifting message, yes, does that resonate with you like at another level?
Yes, of course, because you don't want to be all depressed about the police. You don't want to go through all that either. You know, you want to actually listen to something that's positive that'll actually help you out and like, all right, I'm listening to this. Yeah, that makes sense. This guy, you know, whatever, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, you know, even Kendrick Lamar has some good songs that are positive. Like, oh, you know what? That's true.
It's a rapper.
I know, bro. I know Kendrick Lamar. Relax, bro.
Okay,
I know.
He's from 2026.
Shut up, dude.
I just say you always say that fucking rappers don't have.
No, I gotta say, listen.
He's stuck in Stevie B.
Yeah.
Bro. You know what? You're full of shit because I listened to when you were a kid. When you were like 2-3 years old, I used to play a lot of NWA. So I don't want to hear your shit. You don't remember that?
Yeah, but that's like, but you always say rappers from our day.
Oh, okay, yeah, they suck.
Right.
Okay, listen. So Daniel, and this is not I'm not telling you to give a cure all to for Gabriel, but is it possible for you to maybe give him some words of encouragement, or maybe lead him somewhere with listening to what his issues are?
Yeah, I mean, I think really it's kind of what I was saying earlier that, finding a therapist, there's a couple organizations. I'm contracted with one of them. It's called the Headstrong Project. They provide free trauma, centered therapy.
Can we connect Gabriel
30
to this?
sessions. They're in a bunch of states. They're in California, but they need funding. I think right now they are on pause in California, but they will likely reopen. And I think you can get on like a list, and then when they're ready, they would connect you.
This sounds
with
like
a therapist.
and I know you mean well, but it just reminds me of me when you said, they put him on pause because during COVID, I was losing my mind, and I remember calling Kaiser, and they wouldn't pick up the phone.
Oh,
like, you motherfuckers, I'm over here fucking, I was fucking stressed, man.
Yeah, I do think though, like that organization Headstrong, and then there's the Wounded Warrior Project.
You know
Which
about
can
them,
connect-
Gabriel?
I do.
Have you reached out to them?
I've reached out to them several times, Wounded Warriors, and they kind of get back to you, but they don't really follow up with you. So like, yeah, we'll get together, and then I haven't heard anything. I called them like twice, and then I just gave up on them. But and again, not to say anything bad,
Yeah.
but actually, I was thinking, and I was actually talking it over with Willie that like maybe we can collaborate and maybe start a group, like a little group session somewhere here in LA. Like it could be at our church, it could be somewhere, but just a little something where other people can just gather and be like, all right, guys, hey, I'm going through this and this and that. Okay, cool.
I found
That way we kinda listen to each other.
you'll be the guy, man. I'll, with anything I can do to help you guys, put something together. But I think it should be I think this should be your project, man.
I think that along those lines, I really think that the best approach is exactly what you're saying: is veterans getting together, supporting each other, and then in addition to that, people having an individual therapist that actually knows how to address trauma. But the support group aspect, I think, is really important. Sure, and I think you even indicated you experienced like feeling isolated, not really connecting, and then you're just kind of left with your own thoughts. And the longer you're doing that, the harder it is. And getting in a group of other people that can relate to that, and you can talk about it, and then in addition to that, doing some targeted like trauma work.
Yeah.
But so I'll just say it again because I think it's worth. I've worked with Headstrong for about 7 years,
Okay.
and I think they're great. They're
Have
really
you-
committed.
Have you ever worked with Save the Brave?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I've heard of their organization. In fact, I know one of the guys. His name is Nick, and they started an organization kind of like that too.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. You just kind of have to test them because there are some that are bullshit too. So you
Well,
have to make
look.
sure they're legit.
I know you're probably a little pricey to see you, right? Like one-on-one, right? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I think I'm in the range of,
Well,
most
give-
therapists.
Okay,
We
but
can talk about
can you
that offline.
give me a homie discount? Look, bro. I'm gonna ask you. I don't want freebies because I know you got to make a living. You
Of
understand?
Yeah.
But and trust me when I tell you, I'm not I'm not. I don't want it for free or anything like that. But I'd like to sponsor Gabriel out of my own pocket. Is be my gift to you, bro. 6 sessions with you, Daniel.
Yeah,
Would
I mean,
you-
I was
would-
already thinking that I would talk with Gabriel afterwards and just see, if
Well,
you wanted to
Can
do something.
I'd like to sponsor them. I'll be there for you. I don't know, what 6 sessions could do, but for me, like everything, if you get, if you get one nugget, that's something that you never had before, like one little tool, I think to me, and for you, it's worth it.
But it's not 6 sessions and then we got to start all over again, right?
No, bro.
Like-
No. But I'll put my money where my mouth is.
No, I appreciate that. I
I'll
appreciate
sponsor Successions and then you guys can start a relationship
Okay.
and
Yeah,
we get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Is that? I mean, something. I guess we could talk about
Yeah,
this.
we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's fine.
But yeah, so I just want to say one last thing, just that there's a number. It's 988. It's the suicide
Oh yeah.
sort of hotline, and when you call that number, right at the front it says if you're a veteran, press 1. So they're trying to really be there to serve veterans. So maybe we can put some of these links in your. I don't know if you have show notes or.
Yeah.
Something
We
like
could.
that.
You should. We
Everybody
should
include.
put that up, bro. It's called. What's the number?
I think it's 988.
988.
Yeah, I believe it's 988. If you go to the VA, if you call the VA hospital, first thing they say is if you're going through, if you're feeling like, you're having depressive thoughts or thoughts of suicide, whatever, press 1. And immediately they'll take you to this particular operator. So, I mean, there's tons of ways to do it. Real quick story. In 2016, I was spiraling out of control. I had just made like a ton of bad decisions. I was just coming off of crystal meth and a bunch of stuff that was happening, and I really really wanted to end everything. I was done, and for some reason, even though I was kind of not all there, for some reason I called the suicide crisis line, and I was telling them, I'm like, you know what, I'm just letting you know that I'm in my car. And I'm gonna go, drive off I'm gonna drive off the 710. So the lady's like, okay, well, can you tell me where you're at right now? He goes, can you do me a favor? Can you come to the VA? We're not gonna stop you. We just want you to sign a paper that says that you are declaring that you're gonna end your life, right? And so I was like, nah, yeah, whatever. So where are you at? I'm on the 605. Okay, where? And I'm like, because I'm high, and I'm like, I don't know, there's Alondra. Okay, well, keep going, and then you're gonna get off. And she stayed with me until I got off the freeway. She's like, okay, make a left. Okay, you're coming up. You're gonna make a left. And then I went into the parking lot of the VA in Long Beach, and then they took me into custody, and I was 5150 for 96 hours. But it's not a horror story. It's actually a story that she was there the whole time on the phone trying to save my life, where I really was. I don't know if you could say, well, it was a cry for help. You could say whatever you want. At the time, I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted out. And I'm really glad that these people were there, because who knows where I'd be today. Honest to God, I can honestly tell you, who knows where I'd be today if it wasn't for that lady. And, she convinced me to go there and get help. And I got the help I needed. And after that, things weren't, they weren't flowers and rainbows at the beginning. You still go through some stuff, but at least I had a better mindset as, okay, you know what, we can do this. I hit rock bottom. It's like the only way you can go is up. That's what our chaplain used to say. He was like, when you dig yourself a hole and you keep digging and you're like, you're done. You've hit rock bottom. There's nowhere you can go. Well, what's the only way out? Look up, right? And that's the best thing to do. You look up, and to me, you say the universe, you say God, you say whoever. Like, you know what? I'm getting another chance. Any day above ground is a good day, no matter how good or how bad you got it. So if you're going through something, man, I encourage you, get a hold of one of us, or you know what? Better yet, call 988.
This should be your
Get some help,
foundation.
dude.
Remember we talked, bro. You need to start a foundation where you're the
we
guy,
do.
because they're gonna relate to you. They're gonna relate to me, but fuck you, no Willie, you pussy. Fucking, I got shot with a BB gun when I was 8, man. What the fuck? What do I know? But honestly, man, you should start a foundation, brother. We talked about this because I think you're here for a reason. You survived for a reason, and I think the reason is to share your story with other people that will relate to you and know you're not full of shit.
Yeah.
You're a survivor, bro.
Yeah.
And you, what I find admirable about you, bro, is even being here. You keep searching and like, okay, how do I get better? How do I get better? and you know that's all we can do in life, man. Is search or how can I improve? How can I improve? So I just want I want to take the time to thank you both, man, for being here. Thank you. You know, you both took took your time
Thank you.
and you were here. You couldn't blow me off and say, fuck that little podcast.
But same, but thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
story.
guys.
Thank you for being so vulnerable, and it just reminds me to just be the best human I can be, because you never know what someone's going through. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing I'm gonna say for as final words for me is, doesn't matter what side you're on. Doesn't matter if you're on the left or on the right. Just know we're all human beings, and you have no idea what the other people are going through. So they could be whatever color they are, whatever race they are. You have no idea what they're going through, and they have no idea what you're going through. You can be having the worst day possible, and it only takes one person to set you off. It's the same way. Treat others the way you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. Treat others as you want. I used to tell my girls this. It was it used to be Thumper. What's Thumper's rule? Is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I told my girls that. What's Thumper's rule? Because he says that in Bambi. And so it's the truth. You have nothing nice to say, just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself. Why let out more negativity? There's already enough of that in the world. Let's start positivity. Let's start some positive trend that will blow everybody away. Like, damn, that's awesome. Let's get on that. Let's get on that. And I promise you, better days will come. Better days, and you'll one day say, hey, you remember you'll probably meet one of us on the street and say, hey, Willie, guess what? Like I did with him in 2022. Dude, I told him this at Bruce's.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, you don't know me, but I was there on December 25th, 2002 in Bahrain, and you touched my life and the life of my friend Sandoval and the life of my friend Bayless and all of the people that were there. We were going through just going through a really dark time together, and you came and you offered some sunshine, in the middle of nowhere with Jay Leno. And I just wanted to thank you. And I had no idea you had that picture. I had no idea that we were going to talk again. It was weird because after that we ended up seeing each other again a few more times, and now we're here. So things don't just happen. It happens for a reason, guys. So don't ever think that you're not worth anything. Don't ever think that, you know what, I'm nothing like this fool. Hey, bro,
that was back then, dog. I got healed, dog. Yeah, I got healed, homie. This guy, right here.
Everybody comes in and busts Robert's balls.
Hey, bro. Hey, I was a devil pup, bro. Be like,
oh, nice. Okay, great. No, seriously. No, whatever you feeling, man. We've all gone through our highs and lows. We've all gone through several highs where everything's great, and then we've hit hard. So you're not the only one. If you're going through some stuff, call somebody, call a friend, check on your friends that are, going through some stuff. Say, hey man, I just want to see if you're cool. Are you all right? That's it. You'll be surprised how many people are begging for that. They're like, I wish somebody would call. See, I feel alone. Nobody calls me, therefore I'm alone. Call your friends. Say, hey man, you all right? Yeah, cool. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to ask them. You don't have to be their best friend. You don't have to just, hey, are you cool? Cool. All right, vamos. That's it. And then if you need and that's another thing. If you need to step away and say, all right, I need a moment. Give me a moment. We're good. Vamos. It's okay to not be okay all the time. It is. And let me repeat that. It's okay to not be okay all the time, but you've survived 100% of your days. That means a lot because you've gone through a lot of stuff in your own life. You've survived so many things that people have no idea about. You survived that. You are a survivor. Somebody told me, dude, you're a winner. You were the sperm that won. So you're a winner from that time, right? So you got this.
Yeah, brother. Thank you, man. Daniel, you want to share something with
Well, yeah,
our viewers?
think
Listeners,
Gabriel just demonstrated why hearing this from a fellow veteran is so much more meaningful than hearing it from, a therapist.
Right.
So, and so I really appreciate your passion about getting that message out.
Thank
and, I just, I also wanted to thank you, Willie, for inviting me here because I think, these topics usually get talked about on like therapy podcasts
Right.
Yeah.
that are mostly listened to by other therapists.
Right.
So the thing I was really excited about was to come on your show and maybe reach an audience that's not
Especially
90%
yeah.
therapists.
Listen, and there's no secret that in the Latino culture, and a big bulk of our listeners are Latin American. I don't want to say Mexican Americans. We got a lot of them from everywhere, but in the Latino culture, it's really not in vogue to go to therapy. It's really the machismo, the hey, I'm no pussy. I know that's why I didn't go for a long time. And I finally just said, I think the reality is to be tough is to be vulnerable. To be tough is to say, I need some help. I need to change. My character needs to change. I'm flawed. So, I just appreciate you having. I hope it's not the last time we have either one of you. Yeah. And we touch on other subjects. We touch on a lot of relationships because all three of us need help. So maybe you can come by and
maybe I don't know about all three of us.
all right, Fabian.
Yeah,
we just talk about being vulnerable.
Yeah, because
talk about him because
he still has his puppy love right now, dog.
No, who are you talking about, Fabian? I'm a little. You talking about you not needing help?
He said you don't need help because he has his girl.
What were you just talking about being vulnerable, bro? And now you're the cool guy. All right, bro.
Because he said his joke.
Now Robert, you're rubbing off on him.
All right, hey, bro, relax. All right.
Relax. You're getting angry. Breathe. Count to 10.
He got the hypno thing.
All right. Listen, guys. Now, all right. We got. What do we got?
This week.
I think we got 5 tickets left. We have 2 shows for the post. We're in El Monte. We're gonna put the information, but I think there's literally like 8 tickets left for the second show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's it, man.
What day? When is it?
On Valentine's. Robert was gonna be there, but Fabian replaced him.
Oh, damn, Fabian. Taking my spot?
No, it's Varsity Vic. Varsity Vic.
I don't
bro.
No,
you're getting a 2 for 1. You getting Varsity Vic and Fabian and replacing me?
No, bro. And we're all gonna be there. You guys, the whole crew, the whole gang is gonna be there. And then we have, listen, March 7th. March 7th, I'm gonna do another old school hip hop party. Hip hop from the 90s, freestyle music, and it's gonna be at Tres Vinos and Covina. All right, this is gonna be my last one. I'm okay. I've said that before, but this time I mean it. It's my last party. It's a DJ party. We throw maybe you could be part of it, bro. We just play old school, and the DJs is Renee the Wizard and Robert Risque. Do you know these guys?
Yeah, I know Wizard.
Yeah. Okay. The Wizard and Robert Risque are gonna be there just killing it because they do every time.
Nice.
And hey, you might drop by and spin a little, bro.
Hey, hell yeah.
Okay. So that's March 7th at Tres Vinos. What I do is I grab the mic. No stand up. I'm not. So don't go there expecting to see me do stand up. I'm just enjoying the music. Dress nice. If you don't dress right, if you show up with a hoodie, you're not gonna get in. Okay, dress nice. Buy a nice outfit. Look good, old school style. All right. And what else, Fabian?
And then we got the Colorado trip. So February 19th, we're gonna be in Colorado Springs at the Phil Long Music Hall. And then the next day, February 20th, at the Moxie Theater in Greeley, Colorado. And then February 21st, which is a Saturday, we're going to be at the Oriental Theater in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, you guys. And Colorado, man, you guys always come on. You guys always show a lot of love. And, man, Colorado. Thank God we survived last year because we were driving that SUV, rented SUV in Colorado,
Oh yeah.
and we were slipping and sliding in the snow, man.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to get another one of those big SUVs.
Let's SUVs, yeah.
I felt pretty safe. in
Yeah.
that.
All right, you guys. All right, we love you guys. We appreciate you, and we're very grateful. All right, we'll see you on the next one.